something with that right there. But let's take a 30. Super producer, do your thing. You up radio. We back. You heard the sounds of Anderson Pack. If you ain't got it, go get it. You up radio media. So hit us up. You up radio at Gmail. Holla at us. But you mentioned Uber. So brother JC, with our next segment, we want to jump into because now Uber has the Uber bikes. And we were kind of discussing, like, where do we see this transitioning us into the future, especially with our younger generation uh, heading into this Uber future. So, brother JC, talk to us again. What you got? You up, brother? Uber bikes.
Well, here's let me do a shameless. I hope that maybe this will get us a Uber sponsorship one day, maybe. But
I'm
no,
with it.
one of the
I'm with it.
things, one of the things I know is that my life would be dramatically different had Uber not existed when I made that move from Carolina to San Diego. From the standpoint of having to make a decision of whether or not I was going to bring my car all the way out here, drive cross country, or even if I was worried about how I was going to get to and fro. And now I recognize that Uber is a regular part of my lifestyle. I probably use them 2 out of every 5 days a week to go to and from work. And then last week, what I noticed is that there was this new electronic bike that was sitting on the curb. Between Uber and Lime Bike, those are my main modes of transportation. So right next to the scooter was the red jump bike. And then I found out that the jump bike is actually powered by Uber. And I immediately got excited like a little kid, like it was Christmas and I got a new Huffy. And then I started thinking about it, and I wondered, like, man, I looked at my Uber apps. I now have a whole section on my iPhone just for my Uber apps. That's my Uber Eats,
Uh,
my Uber Groceries, that's my Uber for a ride, and now I got my jump bike, which is on the same app. And so it made me start thinking how much of Uber is in my life, much like Amazon, how much of it is a part of my life. And so it really got me spiraling down this whole big continuum of thoughts and ideas about how powerful Uber is and what is it that feeds that monster. And then I started thinking about, well, maybe it's the riders, maybe it's the businesses that want the riders, maybe it's the destination, all these different things. And I started realizing that really it's us as the consumers that power it all. And I'm like, man, how come I feel like that I'm the one that's not really getting the greatest benefit of this? So I bring it to the team to sit there and say, do we actually take stock of how much, just using Uber as an example, but there are plenty of companies out here that's doing it. How much of companies like Uber are consuming our lives when we're consuming their services?
mm-hmm. Well, I want to say I don't really utilize Uber, but I am aware. I know a lot of people who utilize it for those same things. I think it's I think it's good. It's a good tool. Um, the wonder is, going forward as we move into this Uber universe, how will it affect society? Will this take the place of, going out shopping, going out to eat? Will it make us a nation where we just or increase that lack of patience or that we talked about in the previous segment because we want everything boom, boom, boom. You see what I'm saying? Like, do you see it affecting a generation where it becomes a lost art to go places, or will everybody? Because everybody's getting into it. Like even with the fast food places now doing deliveries, isn't that? kind of like a Uber.
That's
Uber Eats. So it's like, will we lose the art of going to places? Will it affect the economy? Like, it just makes me a little wondrous of that aspect.
Here's what Uber is, and this is crazy, but this is truly what it is. Uber is that friend that you had that you needed to go somewhere, but in order to get him to take you, you had to provide gas money. That's what Uber is.
Yeah.
That's essentially what Uber is. I discovered Uber, and I'm gonna go Christopher Columbus on this one. I discovered Uber in California because I was there for a symposium. I was there for a week, and they were talking about Uber for 3 days, and I didn't have the first clue what anybody was talking about. It was like, yeah, I saw people Ubering in, and I'm like, what in the world is Uber? So finally, me and one of the guys that I was there with, we were standing out front, and I'm thinking we're waiting for a cab. Now, my plane left me, and I had to fly. Instead of flying from the connector from RDU to Charlotte, then Charlotte to LA, I had to go RDU to Philly to LA, which meant I missed a van, which meant I had to take a cab. And a cab from LAX to northern LA was $137. So I wish I had known about Uber at the time. So I'm sitting outside and I'm thinking we're waiting for a cab. And this guy's like, man, I see the Uber coming. I'm like, so you can see the cab on the way? He's like, nah, it's an Uber. And I'm like, finally, what is an Uber? So he's like, yeah, it's just a guy that comes pick you up and he'll take you down the street. And I'm like, just some random dude? He's like, yeah, you pay him through an app. So I'm like, I don't want to get in the car. Like, I watch too much Unsolved Mysteries. I don't think I want to take this ride. This ain't the way I want to go. I'd rather walk. So he takes us down the street. He's tipped the guy and everything, and we get out. And it's like, wow. So this is basically the new school way of saying, hey, can you come pick me up real quick? It's just you don't know the guy now. And what I like about it is it's giving people different sources of income.
Yep.
Which is a good thing, because now I had a cousin that was running his own business, and while he was starting up, so he didn't have to go get another job and he could control his own schedule, he drove for Uber during the day, and then would get his business functioning later on, and now he's got his business functioning and he doesn't do Uber anymore. So it's you see the benefit of it, but in terms of what JC's talking about and its consumption of everything that you do, it can make you lazy, but I don't think it can. My thing is it can't create anything that didn't already exist. The laziness already existed in people. Somebody just figured out, and it was probably, I think the guy who created Uber is a Generation X guy. I think he's about our age. He's just like, all right, how do I capitalize on this laziness that I always had and couldn't? And it was like, oh, why don't I just create a network of people who are just willing to give people rides for money? Because if you grew up in the neighborhood I grew up in, there was always that one guy willing to give you a ride anywhere you wanted to go as long as you paid him. And that's what Uber is now, is just an abundance of those people. But
it wasn't no everyday thing. It wasn't no everyday thing, or the store and the food. Right now, we're in the generation like into patience.
for your line's going in and out. Your line's going in and out.
All right. I'm having some technical difficulty. Can y'all? Am I good? Can you hear me?
Good. Yeah, you're good now.
No, we're more since everybody wants information that now. Going back to the dual decimal, like nobody has the patience. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, and granted, we have moments where we don't want to deal with lines and finding parks, and it's convenient. But I think though, for all the good it does do harm because we'll have a whole so we are the guys with the get on my you know, guy, will they work with me when I
Hold on, Free. We gotta get your mic fixed, Free. We'll come right back to you. But to JC's point, like that, there is a way for consuming. But go ahead, JC.
What I was going to say is that every time we say to the bad point, it's interesting because we're looking back based on the generation in the mindset of the people who actually consume, like myself, who consume Uber on a regular basis. We don't go into it thinking that Uber or anything like it won't ever exist again, right? Like we were talking about Black Planet a while ago, or even if we want to talk about MySpace, whatever it is, or you want to talk about Hotmail. Ever since it came into existence, those things that were groundbreaking, it has never gone away where nothing like it exists. It's just change and variation. I think for Uber, the reason why I can kind of get fully behind it is one, because I have a personal effect of how I see how, yes, I'm consuming it on a regular basis. Like, again, I order for my food, they deliver my groceries, and they get me to and from work. Getting me to and from work allows me to buy groceries. Buying grocery allows me to be able to do anything else I want, like to have sustenance, right? So part of me thinks about that, and I'm looking at the company as a whole as the power that company has. But if you remember this week, GM shut down plants, right?
Right.
So in the backside and the backstories that nobody's really talking about right now, the reason they shut those plants down is not because they don't want to make any more cars. What they have to get ready to adjust for, that once this
People buying less cars.
Once you, I have to buy. If I did not have Uber out here, I would not have had the option to take Uber. I would have had to decide either quickly to bring my car out here or to buy another car, right? Or now what's going to happen if you mix autonomous cars with Uber? Again, Black Mirror. I mentioned to you all earlier in the production meeting about Black Mirror, which is, I think everybody watch it, and it'll give you a whole new mindset in how you think. Imagine an autonomous car on demand. So what has to happen? These car dealerships have to prepare themselves. Even Uber is the one who's being credited with giving the whole share program its jumpstart, right? Like whatever type of share it is. Now it's bike share. Then that gets scooter shares. Like, and now it's ride shares. Yeah, you had your Zip cars, but now you've got car dealerships that now have to prime themselves to provide cars that can now be car shares. And that's what supposedly behind the scenes is what GM is looking to do. Those plants that they've shut down, they're getting ready to repurpose them to start the autonomous car builds. Notice they took the factories that are historic GM factories. They shut them down, revamp them, right? Come back, reproduce them, and say, hey, we're coming back to be a part of America again. They create autonomous cars, and now Uber partners with them the same way that you had Apple to partner with Ford for the in-screen navigation, and you had Waze to partner with different car dealers. The same thing is going to happen where you see these tech companies partnering with these fledgling companies or powerhouses of the past. If you can remember, I guarantee you we all got somebody that either worked from Detroit or somewhere who can talk about working for Ford, Chevy, and those are the big powerhouses. You wanted them big jobs. Now it's the tech company that's now looking to save some of these companies. And what I think is going to happen is that you'll have GM producing autonomous cars that will be on demand, that will come pick you up, but that those autonomous cars can now deliver your Amazon, bring you your grocery, take you where you want to go to and from work. And so now to the airport from the convention center. And so now the mindset has to be, how powerful are these companies going to become? Or how powerful is the technology going to become? And bring it back to what You Up Radio usually does. How informed are our neighborhoods that we're most familiar with? Because the same thing, the way that you all may be familiar with using Uber in Carolina now could be totally different what they're doing on the West Coast or in New York or in international cities. I know in Union County, North Carolina, ain't no way you're going to get no Uber in the 2 minutes that I can get an Uber here in San Diego. So is anybody preparing these communities that digital divide now is like a life divide, right? You're talking about people who are still riding in a horse and buggy versus riding in a real car, right? When you're talking about people who are using Uber who've never even heard of it or don't even have that app on their phone, right? So I think that was more the injection, the question that I'm looking at, but it does create jobs. It's a new technology. So there's an upside to it. I just don't know that I've seen the downside to it.